Welcome to Harbinger. I'm your host, Tim. This is my co-host, Daniel. Welcome, Daniel. Tonight, we're going to be really looking forward to discussing many great and interesting and innovative ideas around decentralization and the blockchain. So I thought I'd just hand this straight across, Daniel. Maybe you really, you wanted to talk about how cool cryptocurrency is. So I'm going to hand this across to you, and maybe you can expand more.
Yeah, for sure. We've been using, I'm sure, Tim, you can agree with me, we've been using cryptocurrency for a few years now. And it's been creating a massive impact in our lives in the way that we are conducting ourselves and with the things that we have learned about cryptocurrency. Number one, it's very easy to use. Number two, it gives you access to an international world. And number three, it allows us to communicate and transfer value to those people who we meet around the world. So I'm sure, Tim, you can remember that from last year, you've gone completely into cryptocurrency, and you, I'm sure, have some experiences where you've been able to hire programmers, you've been able to communicate and hire graphic creation from around the world using Bitcoins or made safe coins or safe exchange coins or even the seeds of the network 99. So these are just some of the cryptocurrencies that I'm sure that Tim is familiar with and I'm familiar with myself. For example, from my perspective, I've been able to buy equipment, I've been able to travel, I've been able to meet people and communicate the value of cryptocurrency and use cryptocurrency in the same process. And it just completely has transformed my life, where my barriers have been unlocked and I'm able to meet demands, make demands, and settle them very rapidly. And it allows for a lot of things, such as hiring people, for getting ideas managed and created and paid for, and also to create a reliability amongst the people who I'm doing that business with.
Exactly, Daniel. I think one of the most powerful concepts, and as you know, my experience is one of coming from the arts, and I think one of the things that most fired my synapses when I heard about the blockchain and what was coming in decentralization was just the idea, and this is a really big concept for many creative people, is the idea of no more middlemen. The idea of people who, as artists, we're always confronted with people who are between us and our audience, and blockchain is a fantastic way of opening up the reach between the person who creates, the artist, and the music producer, and that's what I think is really exciting. And I think you were speaking upon how things are just on a day-to-day level progress so much. I mean, I think it's been absolutely fascinating as well as inspirational to see how much projects have got off the ground. And I speak from myself. I mean, it's been very inspiring, and it's been, overwhelmed by the amount of musicians and creative people who can see the opportunity. And I think this is the exciting point where we are. It's now the case of platforms are being built. I mean, for instance, how I'm building N99 and Chile being built. These are just going to be platforms that are going to unleash a lot of human potential.
Tim, do you think, let's behold the blockchain. That's the thing that stands behind what we're talking about. Cryptocurrency is, let's call it a system that allows people to use crypto material in order to create a message that transfers value by passing it to a network that is upholding a blockchain. And the blockchain receives those messages and is able to process those messages and create a transfer in such a way that there is no centralized party necessary to create that value transfer. So, that's the fundamental behind everything that we just talked about, these new platforms that are able to happen, the value transfer internationally at ease, and to settle those whatever you wanted to do, you're able to do it right away for a very specific reason, And that's because we behold the blockchain.
Indeed, and I think one of the perspectives I can definitely speak upon in the whole experience and the journey I've been down so far has just been not only the uptake of people with Bitcoin, but also, I mean, that was reflected, for instance, in the Bitcoin price. I mean, the Bitcoin price since just a year ago, I mean, it's gone from maybe $450 to over 1,000, and I think that not only is a example and of the uptake, it's also an example of how this has been used in real day-to-day transactions between people. I mean, this is not just an idea where it's just a few people, talking about an idea. This is actually, people can buy plane tickets, as you said. People can buy all sorts, hotel rooms, and it's starting to filter into the everyday, part of the paradigm of everyday's life and existence, I feel.
As you know, Tim, we discussed in the past that I've been developing some private blockchains, and entire enterprises are operating just solely on Bitcoin, and it's amazing. And the fact that the Bitcoin price just keeps rising is just a testament to the fact that many people are onboarding the utility of Bitcoin, the blockchain, and the ability to transfer value with a very high integrity. When I send you some value using a Bitcoin, say I sent you 1 Bitcoin, you're guaranteed to receive that 1 Bitcoin. There's nothing standing between us and our business. And so that means that you can actualize much faster than you could ever before using traditional banking methods. Whoever waits for a wire transfer, if you're in a Bitcoin space, it hardly happens because we have a 10-minute block time on the Bitcoin, and therefore the uptake with the price rising has only been obvious that it would happen. So yeah, right now it's hovering around over $1,000, and it's risen almost 2.5 times since about a year ago. So it's quite stellar in the returns. It's a 250% return in a year. That's unheard of in any other asset class. And to me, I'm betting that it's going to continue to rise. It's just my opinion.
I would completely concur with you, and it would be interesting in the next few months. It's going to be interesting to see, for instance, how the certain parts of the world that maybe haven't got the uptake at the moment, like China and some of the Asian parts of the world. It's interesting to see how they uptake it, because I mean, again, I'd love to hear your perspective. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about how the Chinese, when they come in, and the Great Firewall with China. I mean, how do you think that if the Great Wall of China was ever to fall, how do you think that would affect blockchain and the Bitcoin price?
Well, the Chinese government does a very good job to create walls around the citizens from doing things that they don't like them to do. However, Bitcoin actually dissolves that wall. We could say that that wall is crumbling, and by the fact that these peer-to-peer networks are really taking over the internet. Just to kind of move along on the subject is, for example, the Safe Exchange that I've created. It's a decentralized community of people around the world, including in China, even though in China it might be they might have not wanted that to happen, but it did, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. It's kind of like when in Russia they had like to block the radio waves from entering Russia, so no one can listen to any other nation's radio against the censorship. However, people were able to make radios that did decipher what was being sent to them, because there's a massive jamming fortress around the country. But if you were able to capture that signal and parse it out, you would be able to listen to the radio. So it's kind of a similar thing happening in China with the internet and with the decentralization movement. and these new cryptocurrency platforms. Because while Bitcoin is tremendous in the fact that it has a vast network, it nearly always works in 10 minutes time. Sometimes you miss a block, it takes 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Doesn't matter in comparison to the other methods of value transfer in the world on the electronic platforms. So Bitcoin is fantastic so far, and it'll continue to be fantastic and helpful and useful. And there's a big invitation for the new and improved protocols that do other things that also improve people's lives the same way that Bitcoin has in introducing us to the digital value transfer. So, for example, Safe Exchange, we did a decentralized voting in November to produce our own blockchain network. And that's a tremendous thing where a completely unknown to each other, just from the internet, group of people were able to see, to assess an opportunity and move on that opportunity and prove that they had a stake in that opportunity, and to prove with their cryptographic signature, with the value, the amount of coins that they possessed, to move forward to do something different. And as a result, the Safe Exchange community is now producing the Chili blockchain. And the Chili blockchain is introducing a concept of storing anonymous contracts into a blockchain where there's no way to identify the trace of who stored that contract, and therefore allowing another person to make a purchase and submit their purchase details to the person who is making a sale and receive a payment, all without being tracked and being completely anonymous and non-traceable. That's tremendous, because that lets us move forward into even anonymous data storage. So this is fascinating. This is the frontier of the Safe Exchange community and anonymity and data storage and the blockchain developments. So yeah, very exciting moments.
I,
Yeah.
no, I was just going to say, I think the general progression of where, particularly on let's speak upon. I mean, you know, I've known you for a long time, my friend, and just it's been so inspiring to me as a human being to witness what you've done and just the progression you've made, and like you said, because I think the right now we are in this fortunate window of opportunity that maybe, you know, how long it's going to be, that's another question, but we, you know, and it's what people are doing with this opportunity in right now, and this is where the new frontiers are being broken by people like yourself. And I think what's really inspiring to many people, and I kind of want to bring this back to the artists and the, you know, the creative people, because people like this are generally aren't the ones who like to sit down and work in offices. So that all these technologies like the Blip, you know, what you're doing with the Chili, or what I'm doing with Network 99, these are so inspiring to people, because they feel they can take the power back and unleash their own human potential. And I think this is what's really inspiring many people when they hear upon this kind of, you know, technology and what it can do to them. It's really inspiring them, and it's, as I said before, we're at a very unique point in human history, and I think we're about to witness, and I can speak upon this, you know, for many times. I'm sure we will do it as this, you know, this podcast progresses, about how there's a mass of creative people just waiting just for these platforms to be built, and I it's so inspiring to many people. And as I said before, I think one of the great things about where we live right now, I think we are in a renaissance, is because we have, for the first time, I would argue for a long time, we've brought together the people like the engineers and the coders, the people like the artists and the creators, and we can all meet in a common space, inspire each other and collaborate and build really platforms that are going to unleash a lot of human potential.
Indeed. It's fascinating how there's a big connection between the philosophy, economic, artistic, musical, performing aspects to all of this, and we are building upon those principles into technology, And it's things like Network 99 that will take, for example, there's a very, very uneven distribution of value that's given to artists. Now, something like Network 99 would more thoroughly distribute or actually give I wouldn't say just distribute, it would give opportunity to more people to voice out their artistry and to earn some fair amounts from that system. Because right now there are centralized services and parties that are promoting artistry, and there's no decentralized methods of promotion and distribution of the musical content. It all costs. And so if there was a platform that offers to the people the ability to place their music and disseminate it rapidly, think, for example, all the music file sharing applications. They actually make it very available to people who are using those applications. Now, what if there was most of those applications don't go mainstream and people are pirating each other? Now, imagine people take ownership of the content that they publish on Network 99, and those people are able to disseminate their content, like in some file sharing application, and therefore they're reaching their audiences and also are able to naturally earn from what the people are participating in. And that's a system that sustains and proliferates itself, and it's a natural system. And I do believe that this is, like you just said, Tim, this is a renaissance where these philosophies and these characteristics, like, never mind the finance applications for a minute, because the blockchain allows for a plethora of applications to use. For example, Network 99, where people are able to upload media, promote their media, and receive cryptocurrency, which we've been understanding and discovering how easy it is to use it and how efficient it makes our lives and to achieve happiness, because what you're looking for is acquirable and obtainable, because cryptocurrency reduces the friction of what you are trying to accomplish, whether it's disseminating music, selling a product, transferring value because you want to a friend, to family, to a business partner, to pay a dividend, to vote on a decision in a collective, to prove that you exist. Cryptocurrency gives us that ability in the digital world. This is really a revolution.
Exactly, and I think it's been my driving force behind Network 99 has been the whole concept, and I said it many times, there's been no middlemen, because for many creative people, the musicians and people like this, they spend their whole lives chasing middlemen and trying to please middlemen, which basically dilutes their creativity. And this is why I love about this, you spoke, with the idea of the Renaissance, because it's you merging philosophies and concepts and innovation and technology, and it's been done from the concept of all creative people want to do is just be themselves, and they do want to be given the chance to be themselves, ability to do that, and that means not having to rely on middlemen, where it's all these ways. And this is what's so inspiring about blockchain, because it does, when it's a very easy thing to sort of say, but when it say there are no more middlemen and you can have direct contact between what the audience and the creator, or two people or two human beings, that is so almost like in the elixir for life that has never been. It's an experiment, it's a destructive experiment that's never been unleashed on humankind before. And I think it's so intrinsically admired by the creative people and the people who create, because they can see the potential, and they can see for the first time, they haven't got to go cry to a record company, and they've got to go, and then that record company's got to say to them, well, you've got to go and do this and say this and all the rest of it. And it's that is truly inspiring. And once you see the middleman cut, we're going to see, as I said many times, we're going to see a huge unleashing of human potential, the likes of which I've never seen before.
Yeah, I think people who are in a middleman roles. I think that they, just making a speculation, I do believe that they have a role to inspire
Hmm.
people to communicate what they believe. But cryptocurrency makes this very significant connection for a person where they interact with an application, and the contract is between yourself and your hand and your action, rather than another person who is selling you on something anymore. It's between the application is autonomous. The application is written, it's ruled by its logic, and you choose which platform you will embark upon. And those platforms can interoperate. The blockchain and the mathematical aspects of cryptography allow the blockchains to interoperate. So whether some group is building a platform for a community somewhere, and they have a reach to those people, and another group is making a platform to reach another group of people, and the protocol for interoperability exists, therefore it can transfer. And this is what we were talking about, where the cryptocurrency brings us into a world that's international. It brings us in the ability to communicate and transfer value and express ourselves directly, and the people give feedback through that direct expression. It's really amazing.
It, it is, my friend, and I think as I said, we're saying that it's an experiment that's never been tried before, and it's a disruptive experiment, and we're trying, and the potential of it, as I said before, because I think one of the things that maybe you're speaking upon in a kind of very broad brushstroke way, but is what I find absolutely inspiring about the whole of the decentralized area in general is that people can collaborate and platforms merge and can feed off each other and a very organic sense. For instance, I mean, I said to you from day one, the idea, I mean, for instance, N99 is a great platform for the artists and musicians, but that's, again, is only enabled and heightened by things like the Safe Exchange, which give you the ability to exchange contracts. And that's what I love about the decentralized community, and that's why I think my call to many artists, and if you are listening to this and you're an artist or a musician, is come along and join in, because I think I mean, I can only speak upon myself. I mean, I didn't know any code before this. But the great thing about this world is you can just step into something, but have an idea, and make manifest your intent, and make things happen. So I just think it's very inspiring. I'm extremely excited to see where this all goes, and this is just, like I say, step one of a very long process, and it's been absolute fascinating ride so far. So I can't wait to see where it goes from now.
Indeed, I can see how the people are going to need some very reliable and protective systems in order to conduct their trade across the world. Protection against hackers and people trying to interfere with their normal lives. And so that's the reason that I feel that Safe Exchange is very important for all the people. And I acknowledge that the blockchain can deliver the necessary ingredients to accomplish things such as the Safe Exchange and the Network 99, and bring the creatives, bring the private people to feel at ease when they're making their transactions and expressing themselves. And yeah, a really inspiring conversation, Tim. I hope that people who are watching, I hope that this was an introduction to something amazing, the cryptocurrency and the blockchain and the movement of decentralization, and how it bridges the gaps of finance, trade, music, artwork, and appreciation of life, and the manifestation of happiness and the personal accomplishment.
Indeed, and I would just say, before we just do wrap this up, two things. as I said, leading on from what I just said before, if everyone wants to reach out, they can, find us on Twitter. We've got a new page on Twitter. Find us on Minds, various media. But please reach out to us. We're open. We'd love to have conversations. We're very open, genuine people. So if you want to reach out to either me or Daniel, just feel free. I hope you enjoyed our conversation tonight, and this will be the first of many, and we're going to have many guests, and we're going to have some demos, and we're going to talk about many exciting things, and being an early adopter. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure tonight, and I want to say, from over here in Scotland, I want to say thank you very much, and then have a great week. We'll see you next week.
See you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.